Hey, what's going on everybody? Chase here at Rocky Mountain, and we're back again with another riding tip video. This time I have Riley Brough here with me. So Riley and his brothers, McCoy and Gavin, they run the RMX Academy. And we came out here today. I was a student. I rode all day with these guys. I was getting some pointers, some tips on some stuff that I was struggling with. And one of the things that Riley and I have been talking a lot about that I was struggling with a lot is you can see this rut behind us. This rut, you're in it for about 3 seconds, Riley.
Give or take, yeah.
It's long, it's sweeping, and I struggled really hard to carry momentum through and just keep my balance and get through the rut clean. Sometimes I get it good, sometimes I'd be dabbing my foot nonstop. I climb out of the rut a little bit early. So Riley helped me out big time today with just some simple technique tips that we want to share with you guys. So if you're in this situation, if you have these types of ruts where you go ride and you're struggling with those, these tips should really help you out. And Riley, kind of the first thing that we're talking about is standing or sitting? Kind of the first question I would give you.
So standing or sitting is kind of, it's partially rider preference like you said, and it's also depends on how the track develops. Okay. Like right where we're standing, if the breaker bumps are small like they are today,
yeah, smooth entrance,
you can get away with sitting. You don't ever even have to stand up from this corner if it's nice and smooth or early. And so that changes from morning to midday to afternoon, you know? So that's something that you just need to learn to roll with and get the flow for. I guess with that, I'll say it's best I try to stand up through all breaker bumps at all times, like regardless of where I'm at. So early in the day when this is nice and flat coming in here, you can just stay on your butt literally the whole way through. Right. And then as the breaker bumps start to get bigger, then you've got to start standing up. In the long sweepers, I try to sit down as early as possible, but again, that's a rider preference thing. Okay. I've seen guys ride really well standing up all the way through here. I try to sit down as early as possible to get my corners set.
Okay. So we were talking about this because I was struggling with this. You're saying it's no different than a short rut. Mm-hmm. It's the same technique. You saying the hard part is keeping that technique all the way through a long rut. So kind of walk us through that. Yeah,
so the 3 things that I'm looking for, and then I teach kids in any corner, if it's a tight 90, tight 180, big sweeper, the 3 things I'm looking for: are you looking ahead? Do you have foot peg pressure on the ball of your foot? And are you leaned forward so that your head's over the bar so you have some weight on the front end? And that goes for any corner out here. If someone comes to me and says, I'm struggling in this corner, that corner, those are the 3 things. Well, are you looking ahead? Right. You know, well, yeah, I think so. Well, is your foot pressure right? And then are you leaning forward? Let's try those 3 things. And if we still can't get it, then we'll start looking for other tweaks and stuff. So the hard part about the sweepers is, like a tight 90, you can focus on those things for the snap of a finger while you get in and out of that corner. The sweeper, like you said, you're in it for 3 seconds or so, and it's harder than you think to hold that focus for 3 seconds because it feels like an eternity on a dirt bike. You know?
And we were actually talking about another video we did where you have to at least I did, because I felt like I was sitting forward on the bike, but then you're like, no, you're not. Yeah. And I had to like literally over exaggerate the sensation of like I'm trying to sit on my gas cap. So here's what I did. Riley gave me these tips. I did what he's saying. I came in this corner. I chose to sit down just because it had a smooth entrance. But as soon as I over exaggerated sitting forward, got my weight over the bike. And another thing too, real quick, I think we should talk about is it's okay to have your leg kind of dangling off the bike a little bit, but you still have to focus on toe in, squeezing the bike. That was another big one for me.
Yeah, and so what you're saying is when we're talking about a corner, like if we're in a nice deep rut, you're talking about get your leg all the way up on the shroud, you know, so it's out of the way of the rut. In a sweeper like this where the rut's not as deep, you're saying your leg doesn't need to be way up high, so it can dangle there a little bit, but it still has to be tight.
Tight to the bike, motorcycle.
Yep, because when we talk about riding a bike, one of the first things that everybody learns is squeeze with your knees, right? And then they learn the attack position and everything squeeze with your knees. Well, everybody understands that standing up, and then when they sit down, we have a tendency to just completely disengage our legs.
Out, legs off the bike.
Yep, you're completely loose. It's like you just sat down on a couch. Right. And then, so now you're trying to do everything with your arms, and then that's where arm pump comes from, because you're trying to drive out of a corner you've got all that acceleration, the bike's trying to move away from you, and now you're trying to do a row to pull yourself back in, versus if you were just tight with your legs, that's what's holding you to the front of the bike.
So yeah, that's what I practiced today. I was coming through, I literally just did the same thing I would do on any corner, but it was just over exaggerating sitting forward on the bike, chest over the bars, and then making sure I squeeze. Because what I noticed that if my leg got loose, that would almost like want to pull me in, and I was struggling to stay upright. And a lot of times I get almost to the end, and then I'm falling, and then I have to accelerate early, and that's when the tire climbs out of the rut. That's when you get in the arm pump. So anyway, any other tips, Riley, other than that? So you're saying standing up is kind of a preference thing?
Yeah.
If there's big breaker bumps, stand up through the breaker bumps. But if you're sitting, oh, how about this though? Standing up position. I know a lot of riders get that wrong. What do you see that riders do commonly, they don't do correctly, just standing up through a corner?
Standing up through a corner is just, you're just trying to hold that, what we call the attack position. So you're on the balls of your feet, your legs are straight, so they're kind of more on the back half of the bike, back by your number plates, and then you're bent at your hips, and then your arms are here, you're looking ahead. When we get into a corner, we want to hold that exact same position, because the whole reason behind the attack position is that's the most balanced we can be on the motorcycle. So that's your legs are back, your chest is forward, and that's the balance that you're looking for. So that's what you want to hold through the corner. Mistakes guys make is they want to stand through the corner, they know they want to stand through the corner, but their brain's telling them to sit, so they start sliding here, but they don't quite sit, so they get stuck right here, and then they're getting pulled up. Yep. Yeah, as soon as your knees go forward, then again, now you're holding yourself up with your arms, and then you can't accelerate as hard and you just don't have as much control. So trying to stand through a corner is just trying to hold that butt back, chest forward attack position.
And best drill for that is feet on the foot pegs drill. Ride a whole track, try and maintain that position and just keep your feet on the foot pegs. And again, it's just kind of rider preference. Some guys like to stand more, some sit, but Riley, last thing that I would want to talk about, and this is something that I see a lot of people struggle with, is in a long turn like this, I think a lot of people think that you can come in and just hammer the gas, but that's not the case. And you kind of helped me with throttle control today.
Yeah, so again, sweepers, we don't see a lot of sweepers. We deal mostly with tighter 90s and tighter 180s, you know, at least at Utah and Idaho tracks. So you get so used to getting to the halfway point of the corner, setting into your corner, and then you can, within reason, you can just hammer the throttle, and by the exit you're wide open. Well, that's a trap people will fall into as they enter this sweeper, right where the rut looks nice and inviting right behind us. They see that nice inviting rut and they just want to hammer the throttle, and that's just that sucks the suspension down, and then they realize they can't do that, so they chop the throttle, they rebound, and then the corner's over, because now you're climbing out of the rut.
Do you come through and try and just keep like a little bit of steady throttle the whole way? Do you coast as far as you can go? Like, how do you go about it?
I'm trying to get on the throttle as early as I can, because saying that you can't hammer the throttle is not to say you can't go through here super fast, right? Like, you know, someone might be just quarter throttle through here. You know, Eli Tomac might be able to come through here wide open, but he's still smooth on the throttle. You know what I mean? Exactly, yeah. So I'm trying to get on the gas as early as I can, but then however much gas I give it, I'm trying to hold that all the way through.
Just to unsettle the bike.
Yeah, because once you get on the gas, the bike kind of settles into the rut, and you need it to stay there for that 3 seconds like we talked. As soon as you let off, the suspension unloads, and then you're trying to reset halfway into a corner.
And the biggest thing I would say is patience. That's like what you got to learn is like you got to wait till the right time to accelerate, otherwise the corner's blown out. But all right, well look, if you ride on a track and you have long sweeping ruts like this, if you've been struggling with them or you just want to get better and drop those lap times, take what Riley and I just talked about today and implement those. So, you know, work on your body position, try standing up, try sitting down, see what works best. And I promise you, if you have a purpose every time you go to the track to improve something, you will get better as a rider. So if you have any tips, though, if there's something that you've implemented that maybe we didn't talk about today that's helped you in this type of situation, we would love to hear that feedback. So leave that in the comment section below. And as always, Riley, thank you for having us out today. It's been a blast. Where can these people, so Utah locals, surrounding states, if you want to be a part of one of these RMX Academies, Riley and his two brothers have all raced pro nationals. They're racing nationals this year. They all shred. They're amazing teachers. So Riley, where can they learn about the Academy?
My main point of contact is on Instagram. I'm at RMX Academy. And then we also have some info on rmxseries.com and RMX Series Instagram as well.
Well, there you have it. So go check that out if you want to get signed up for one of these classes. And if you like this video, like I said, get subscribed. Thanks for watching.